Late tonight. Actually, I'm really, really late, and sorry about that, guys. Uh, I locked myself out of my account, and then I had to wait to turn around and redo a password, and then I got busy doing something else, and it kind of so anyway. So yeah, tonight we're going to be talking about diets, diets, and diets because I actually got myself into, I don't want to say like an argument, but a little bit of a discussion on a post. It was actually a really good it was a really good cookie. And it was like green well, not green free. It had oat flour, I believe, in it. But it was refined sugar. It was a healthier cookie option. Quite honestly, it wasn't really that bad. But I noticed a lot of the comments like, "Oh, this has high protein." I'm thinking to myself, protein? What the heck? I'm like, there is no protein in this. Well, maybe the milk chocolate chips because of the milk, but there's no real protein in there. And hence, here's where the argument comes in. So I thought I would actually talk to, you guys about this today. And I'm probably going to get some backlash on this anyway. And well, yeah. So here we go. Most people, when you ask, proteins, especially people who are more of a vegetarian or vegan diet, you ask them, well, what proteins do you eat? And they say chickpeas, or peanut butter has protein, or walnuts have protein. And yes, it does have protein, but it's a plant protein. It is still a carbohydrate by nature. Okay. A true protein, such as eggs, fish, or beef, has little to no carbs at all. An egg might have a half a gram of carb, but beef doesn't have any. Fish doesn't really have any. So, but when you take a handful of walnuts or like chickpeas, okay? So I think it's like, um, don't quote me, like 8 grams of carbohydrates per serving for chickpeas and only 2 grams of protein per serving for chickpeas. Okay, that's a carbohydrate by nature. It's got more carbohydrates than it does proteins. But again, even if you take walnuts, so walnuts might have like healthy fats and it does have healthy proteins, but it still has like around, I don't know, 10, 12 grams of carbohydrates per serving. It's a carbohydrate, guys. Yes, it might have plant protein, but it's still a carbohydrate. All carbohydrates Oops, I froze. All carbohydrates break down to sugar, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent. All carbohydrates break down to sugar. Sugar causes inflammation in the body. Sugar leads to many, many, many different illnesses. Can lead to joint pain and inflammation. Can lead to ADD, ADHD, anxiety, weight gain, fatty liver, high cholesterol, heart disease, okay? IBS symptoms. All carbs break down to sugar, period, end of story. And in order to reduce the inflammation in your body, you have to get rid of sugar and carbohydrates. I'm not saying that you can't have healthy carbs here and there, and I'm not saying that you have to go on a strict carnivore diet. Although, if somebody was to go on a strict carnivore diet, I would not necessarily be opposed to that either. The best kind of diet is, it's quite honestly, is either the carnivore or keto. Keto is a very low carbohydrate diet. And it's, I believe, anything under 50 grams of total carbohydrates per day. That's a lot of people are not willing to do that. Some people are, but a lot of people are not because we are all, especially in the United States, we are all addicted to carbs. Why? Because carbs are sugar and sugar is just as addicting to cocaine. And quite honestly, you don't need carbs. I've heard that from a couple of my patients where I need the carbs, I need the sugar. No, you don't. That's your addiction talking. You don't need the carbs and you don't need the sugar. Okay. You actually get enough energy just from true protein and true fat. you really don't need carbohydrates. You really want to find out more information about healthy proteins and really what your body actually needs. There's a couple books. Um, Fat for Fuel by Dr. Joseph Mercola is a great one. It really talks about like what carbohydrates, what proteins, and what fats do to the body. Highly recommend that book. You can find it on thriftbooks.com for like 4 or 5 bucks. And then he's actually got a cookbook to go with it. But Fat for Fuel by Dr. Joseph Mercola. I really like that one. Lick the Sugar Habit by Nancy Appleton. And then yeah, so that's another good one. Um, those are just some good books to start off with. So if you are going to have carbohydrates, I do recommend that you have a paleo diet, which is grain free. If you really truly want to have like flour or bread, import your flour from Italy. Get imported flour. Don't use the organic flour from here. Get imported flour from Europe. Trust me on this. Many people go to Europe and they don't have problems with the gluten over there because it's really not the gluten, it's the glyphosates that's even in our organic bread. Our soil is just really polluted. Yes, it's less toxic, but it's still an issue. So, where can you find that's actually a good question. I actually have to look that up. I know you can buy imported. I think there's small stores, like European stores that get like all of their pastas and things like that from Europe. Um, but yeah, otherwise, I'm sure online, like on Amazon or something, I'm sure you can buy, flour from like imported flour. Um, so I would kind of look there, but they do have like small European stores and you should be able to find it there. Um, but yeah, if you're going to use bread, I would definitely, and again, don't go gung ho just because you're having imported bread from Italy or imported flour from Italy doesn't mean that you can have a whole bunch throughout the day. Again, ideally, I would keep, if you want to do keto under 50 grams, but max no more than 74 grams per day. And most people, you're more than welcome, Judy. Most people, do really well, like 20 to, you know, uh, to 20, 24-ish, 23 grams any of carbs per meal. So people do really good around that. So if you have 20 to 24 grams of carbs per meal, um, that is a good place to start. But I really wouldn't do definitely no more than 75. There are studies that show that having more than 75 grams of sugar or carbs, all one and the same, it lowers your immune system. Sugar feeds cancer. Okay. The best way to get rid of cancer, not only that, find out why you got cancer in the first place. Should I be saying the C word? I could get probably banned for that or something. God only knows what the hell they do nowadays. Everything is so scrutinized. But sugar feeds cancer. Technically, I haven't researched this yet, but I wouldn't be surprised because I felt awesome doing a 3-day water fast, and I've done that a couple times. If you do a 7-day water fast, and it would have to be distilled water replaced with minerals, and I'm not saying that you don't have your supplements, but I heard, didn't research this yet, so don't quote me on this, but I heard that if you do a 7-day water fast, that you can kill off cancer cells and it resets your whole body. Again, don't quote me. Didn't look this up yet. It's just something I heard. And it wouldn't surprise me because sugar feeds cancer. So if you starve the cancer, guess what? You probably can help get rid of some of the cancers or at least clean up any precancerous cells or things like that. Um, but sugar feeds parasites. Sugar feeds bad bacteria. Sugar feeds candida. So parasites have been known to be a cause of cancer. Just saying. You got IBS and gut issues, cut out the carbs. Get rid of it. If you were, I'm not saying that you are, but if you were a diabetic, I'd be telling you to cut out the carbs, increase your healthy proteins, increase your healthy fats. You need healthy fats for metabolism, for hormone balance, for good brain function, joint mobility. You need good healthy fats. Do not be afraid to use like Kerrygold butter. Do not be afraid to use olive oil, pure olive oil. Do not be afraid to use coconut oil. And it cannot be the liquid coconut oil at room temperature. If it's naturally a liquid form, I believe they remove like part of the fatty chain acid, which actually makes the coconut oil healthy. So it should be solid. Obviously, unless your house is warm, then it's going to liquefy. But if it's normally like solid at room temperature, that's the kind of coconut oil that you want. Um, so certain fruits and sugar, well, all fruits break down to sugar. So again, very, very minimal. If you're going to have any fruits, berries is probably one of the better options. And again, I'm not saying like, do I have fruits? Yeah. But am I having it on a daily basis? No. Do I even have fruits once a week? Not really. Okay. So I might have some fruits, I don't know, once every 2, 3 weeks. I mean, seriously, I don't eat a lot of fruit because it's all sugar. I mean, and I know that there's health benefits like with blueberries and things like that and what they say. And yes, there is antioxidant properties to certain things, but we in the United States eat way too much of it too often and too quick. Or too yeah, too much in general, you know? So yeah, if you're gonna have your fruits, then watch what other carbs you're having a day, and again, keep your carbs under 75 grams. So if you're going to have fruit, then find out how much carbohydrate, because like one banana, depending on the size of the banana, has roughly about 20 grams of carbs or a little bit more. That's your whole serving for the morning. So if you're having bananas and oatmeal, you're probably having all of your carbs in one sitting for the whole entire day. So again, and then, things like cream, if you like coffee, cream in your coffee, that has carbs too. I mean, milk and cream are actually pretty good for you, but it still has carbs. Okay. So just be cognizant of how many carbs you're actually putting in because I can guarantee you're probably putting in a lot more than what you actually think you are. And that's why you're still having some issues. Whether it's dietary, whether it's anxiety, whether it's insomnia, whether it's weight loss issues, whether it's, you know, um, gut health issues, whatever it is, skin problems. Probably, and maybe not in all cases. So I'm not saying that for everybody, but in general, you're probably having more carbs than what you actually think you are. I really like MyFitnessPal. It's a very good way to track your macros, find out how much proteins and how much fats, because guarantee my struggle is actually the fats. I don't get in enough healthy fats. And fats are really important for hormones, metabolism, weight loss, cognition. So that's my struggle. Um, and yeah, you need healthy fat. So doing MyFitnessPal now, you can put in recipes and you can put in what ingredients. And then if you make like a meal, okay, how many servings is that meal? And then you can save it. And then you can say how, okay, well, this is what I had, and it'll store it in its memory or in its like menu or whatever. And that way you can use that meal and say how many servings or how many servings did you have that day. So it's really kind of cool because you can put your own recipes in there and it will store it, for different meals and things like that. And then you can find out, okay, well, this meal that I enjoy eating per serving has this many carbs, this much fat, and this much protein. So, and it's got many local restaurants, and then you can kind of figure out really where you're at as far as, like I said, fats, protein, and carbohydrates. So, fats, don't be afraid. 60 plus grams of fats a day. Okay. Proteins, 80 to 90. Men should be a little bit more. Proteins, got to be careful where you're getting that from, because if the animal, and this is where vegans and vegetarians do have it correct. So and please do not twist this. So, can eating animals cause cancer? Yes. But notice the word big but where is the animal coming from? How is it sourced? What is the animal eating? If the animal is eating a whole bunch of corn that is GMO filled with glyphosates, the animal is stressed out and eating an improper diet. And if they are, you know, filled with a whole bunch of antibiotics and hormones, does that cause cancer? Yes. Does grass fed beef that is free range and they're eating grass all day and they're not given hormones, they're not given antibiotics, and they're not given GMO stuff, and they're not eating pesticide stuff, will that cause cancer? No. And is that really healthy for you? Yes. Okay. So you have to be careful of where you're getting your protein sources from. So, wild caught fish versus farmed raised. Wild caught has less mercury content. Plus, a lot of the salmon and things like that are fed artificially colored food pellets to make it pink because they're not given a natural diet that make the salmon pink. I forgot what exactly salmon eats, but they eat some sort of small fish or krill or something like that that gives them the pink coloring. And when they're farm raised, they're kept in a pool and they're fed a whole bunch of pellets. And then because of that, they don't develop the pink color like we're used to seeing. So then they add food dye. So that way the salmon turns pink. Sounds really healthy, right? Not so much. So again, be mindful of where you're getting your protein sources from, because that will determine if the animal is sick. Guess what? You're eating sick meat and then you're sick. If the animal is healthy, then you're healthy. Period. So, protein is actually really, really important. You know, healthy fats, like I said, I gave some good examples of good healthy fats. Um, if you're going to have any carbohydrates, I do recommend, like I said, paleo, grain free, refined sugar free. So, some things to kind of consider using for a sweetener: monk fruit, stevia, coconut sugar, maple syrup, maybe once in a while, but maple syrup is high in carbohydrates. And then honey, but some people can have honey can actually cause inflammation. Like, I can't have honey. I don't test very well through quantum nutrition testing. I do not test well for honey, so I have to stay away from honey. Monk fruit works for me, stevia does not. So I do not test well through quantum nutrition testing. And every time that I have stevia, I get very sinusy. So we can, even through quantum nutrition testing, find out what foods your body can handle and what they can't. Because some of you might have food sensitivities, which is not necessarily food allergies, and these sensitivities can cause inflammation within the body. So we can even find out, okay, maybe you shouldn't have this type of fish, or maybe your body likes lamb instead of beef, or maybe your body does not like pork. So we can actually pinpoint all of that too with quantum nutrition testing. It's actually really kind of cool. So so again, I just kind of wanted to hop on, go over like what you really should be eating, um, and kind of what to watch out for. So And just because, oh, and guys, please, please, please read your freaking labels. I don't care what the label says or what the packaging says on the food. If it looks clean, make sure that the ingredients are clean too, because they can label stuff. I've seen it so many times. Some of my patients go, "Oh my gosh, I have this low carb bread and blah blah blah," and I praise them and I get very excited that they're listening to me and that they want to do the right thing and they buy this low carb bread, but then we read the ingredient list and it's really kind of gross. It's got a whole bunch of chemicals, a whole bunch of preservatives, so make sure that just because it says low carb or just because it says sugar free, what are they doing in place of it? So is the sugar free? Are they using monk fruit? Are they using stevia? Or are they using chemicals from Sweet and Low, from, Equal, maltodextrin and things like that? What are they doing to sweeten it? Because I can guarantee you, just because it says sugar free does not mean it's not sweetened. What are they sweetening it with? Read your labels, guys. Gotta read your labels. So important because, again, they turn around and make the packaging look really pretty and attractive to think that you're eating or drinking or even using shampoo that's healthy, paraben free, nitrate free, or fragrance free or dye free, but it still has 20 other potential cancer causing agents in there. So how clean really is it? So read your labels, guys. Read the ingredient list. Get to know what you're putting in your body, on your body. And I think that's it for tonight. If you guys want any more information, want any help, please give me a call, 708-554-6730. Have a good night.